Are you wasting your time nurturing your audience? I'm asking this because when new clients start working with me one-to-one, we inevitably have to go through a vital stage of unlearning all the bad marketing advice that's been drilled into them over the years. You see, traditional marketing experts always talk about the big three, saying first you attract people, then you nurture them, and finally you convert them. And on the surface, this makes a lot of sense, but it's generic advice. It's advice that's meant to work across multiple industries, online and offline, manufacturers of goods, providers of services, the whole spectrum. And for estate agents and letting agents, my view is that it's terrible advice that actually works against you. But it doesn't have to be this way. And that's because estate agents are lucky. That's right. I do genuinely think that estate agents and letting agents are really lucky. And that's because we're in a unique and sought after position because we deal with property. And we all know that property is something of a British obsession, second only to whinging about the weather or tutting at people who jump the queue. And all of this makes the standard attract, nurture, convert funnels that everybody's pushing not only unnecessary, but as far as I'm concerned, actually quite harmful for estate agents. And this is where it gets quite interesting and exciting, because what I'm about to share has the potential to improve everything about the way that you market your estate agency or letting agency business. So how do we skip the nurture stage? Well, I think estate agents are lucky not only because we deal with property, but also because we can skip the nurture stage. And here's why. There are 3 crucial criteria that you need to meet if you're going to be able to skip the nurture stage. Number 1, you need to be expensive and you need to solve a big problem. So if you're an estate agent who helps people to change their lives by selling their home and who charges what you're worth, then that's you. Tick. The second criteria is the ability to pay by the person who's engaging with you. So that's pretty easy. Ideal sellers need to be able to pay and afford what you're selling. Well, you control your marketing, so you control who you attract. And anyway, your fee is paid from the proceeds of their property sale or the first month's rent. So whether you charge 1%, 1.5%, 2%, 12% management fee, whatever, it's likely that the funds will be available. So the ability to pay box, there's a tick there. The third criteria is urgency. And this one is deceptively tricky, and we need to break through a whole load of indoctrination based around the you need to nurture your audience approach. And I've got to be a little bit nerdy here and go into detail because years of consumer behavior research doesn't lie. And hopefully you'll start to see all the attract, nurture, convert advice start to sort of crumble away in front of you in real time. And it could very well change the way you look at your marketing from this moment on. And that's because most prospects want to be nurtured slowly, but ideal prospects want to move fast. Think about your ideal sellers. Think about what they want. Ideal sellers, they want change. They're ready to spend a load of money and go through a load of hassle and upheaval and stress to achieve the change. So it must be pretty important to them. And if we bring it back to the deep-rooted human desires which pretty much lie behind everything that we do or buy or consume, they're either looking to experience newfound pleasure, or they're looking to remove a frustration or a pain that they're currently suffering. And putting it very simply, whatever pleasure they're seeking or whatever pain they're looking to remove, they think that selling their house and moving to another one will do that. All very exciting. So if that's what they're thinking, do you also think that they want to get into some estate agent's funnel and go through a drawn out getting to know you nurture sequence and receive, once they've been through that, lots of sort of property market update emails over weeks and months? And chances are they'll be getting them from several agents, because at that point earlier on they probably signed up to lots of estate agents lists. Do you think they want to have their Facebook feed or Instagram feed clogged up with estate agents proudly boasting about how many properties they've sold, or showing them round properties on a video where the property isn't relevant to them and it's not going to scratch their particular itch? This sort of stuff can actually repel people, especially your ideal sellers. And taking a step back for a minute, when I start working with a new one-to-one client, just as we have to go through an exercise of unlearning all the bad stuff, I often ask them to describe their ideal seller in detail, and more often than not they miss out on this one crucial detail, and that is that their ideal sellers are ready to put their house on the market right now. They're at the stage where they want their problem solved within days, not months or years from now. They want to act. So if your ideal sellers are ready to put their house on the market now, how does it make sense to gear all of your marketing to people who aren't, and force everybody through some elaborate nurturing phase that pretty much assumes they're in no rush? Really doesn't make any sense at all. But I think the reason that estate agents are still doing this stuff is firstly due to generic marketing advice, but also, and this could be a little bit controversial, it's because the number one problem that agents face when dealing with prospects who have an immediate need, the number one problem is how to go from total stranger to trusted advisor in a very short space of time. And I'll go into this in detail in a second, but before I do, don't forget to hit like or subscribe if you're enjoying what I'm saying so far and you're finding it is making you think a little bit differently. Hit like so that YouTube gets to see that you're enjoying the video. Hit subscribe so that you don't miss out on any future videos. You'll receive a notification when I upload one. So back to this problem. Agents spend hundreds, if not thousands of pounds every month on lead generation activities and spend countless hours trying to attract people who have an immediate need, but they don't have an effective and reliable mechanism for dealing with this kind of urgent inquiry. And I don't count what I call the free valuation beauty parade, where you and a couple of competitors rock up and spend an hour pitching your services to the seller in their living room. I don't class that as an effective way of dealing with that sort of an urgent inquiry. I've got an entire article and a video on that one. But for now, let's just say that I view the attract, nurture, convert thing as something of a safety blanket, or, if I'm being cynical, a way for funnel sellers to earn a bit of a kickback when they get you to sign up to their all singing, all dancing CRM and email autoresponder with landing page and all that stuff. But aside from the cost of that, it's a massive distraction that's getting in the way of solving the much bigger problem that comes with a much bigger prize for those agents that do crack it. Because if you agree that ideal sellers want to move quickly, then let's skip the generic stuff. Let's be specific and talk about them, and let's get to the heart of what makes people instruct you to sell their home, which is their most valuable asset. Once you've got to the bottom of that, you can simplify it and turn it into a process that can be applied over and over again like clockwork. And think about the size of the opportunity in front of us. When you have a look at how wasteful a lot of estate agency marketing is, we can see how much there is to gain if we could divert some of that time, some of that marketing budget, some of that energy to the best ways to going about attracting ideal sellers who want to act quickly, ideal landlords who need to get their properties let, and not investing hours, hundreds of pounds, thousands of pounds on nurturing, which is very wasteful and only delivers a very, very, very small ratio of actual instructions. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's started to get you thinking a little bit differently. Obviously, it's probably causing you to have a number of questions racing through your mind. There are other videos in the series which you can watch. If you have enjoyed the video, please do hit like down below and hit subscribe so that you get to see whenever I upload a new video. You'll receive a notification whenever something new is uploaded.